I buy a lot of Lenovo stuff to review, and Lenovo actually sends me stuff from time to time. And sometimes they send me cool stuff, and sometimes they send me really cool stuff. This one right here that looks like kind of a little notebook, or maybe like physically a little laptop or something like that, is the ThinkPad X1 Fold. And yeah, it is a little like 13-inch laptop, something like that, tablet type device, but also at the same time, it's a 16.3-inch OLED touchscreen foldable laptop. Look at that. Isn't that super cool? So it's a full 16.3-inch screen if it's in its like tablet mode, which of course you can use in either orientation here. You can use in that orientation, or you can use in that orientation. You can use it like a giant screen like that. It comes with a stand, or you can fold it and use it in this orientation, kind of like a little laptop type thing. You have the option of bringing up a little keyboard here if you want to use it like this and type like this. Of course, you can bring up a little keyboard and use it like that. So it's kind of a hybrid type, touchscreen typing device like that. Of course, it does ship with a ThinkPad keyboard. You can slap that on there, and all of a sudden you've turned into an actual like laptop now. So now we have more of like a 12.5, 13-inch laptop here with the normal laptop functions here. You had a standard dedicated keyboard, ThinkPad keyboard, a haptic trackpad, which is awesome here. And then, of course, it's still touch and everything like that because it's still in its tablet mode. It has a pen here that snaps onto the side of the device here. So when you're using it, snap it on there. And then, of course, this is, a pen. So you can do pen stuff with it, obviously. It's one of their precision pens, so it's a really, really nice device. I mean, there's lots of different ways you can use this device here. This is a fantastic one, super cool, foldable laptop. Is something that I never thought would exist. And then I saw foldable phones, and I thought, why don't we do it with laptop type devices? And then Lenovo made one. So this is a fantastic one. Let's jump into it and review it. Check the weight of all the materials here. So 1.5 grams or so 3.3 pounds or so, something around the 3.4 pounds. So first things first, this thing feels extremely premium in the hand. Like just the initial impression when you pick it up, you're like, oh, okay, I'm holding an expensive electronic here. It just feels absolutely premium. So on the back here where the fold part is, you have this metal hinge here, very nice. Semi-glossy, not super glossy. This is kind of like a carbon fiber weave material. It's very premium there. Actual embossed on the front there. It's hard to describe how something feels in your hands. So the fold mechanism feels very premium. Very, very nice. It's got resistance to it. Nice resistance. Not hard to close, but very firm, as it should be. And then it snaps in. So you feel confident when you're using it that the hinge is going to be a nice hinge, basically. So that feels very good. On the top, I guess that'd be because it has the camera up there, you have power or USB-C. On the left side, you have USB-C, Thunderbolt on that one. And then on the roof, you have another USB-C Thunderbolt. So 3 USB-C ports. These two on the more left side, I call them, are Thunderbolt ports. Right side just has a USB-C, probably for power, would be my guess. Very cool. It has a very, like, I don't know, industrial kind of feel, but it's also premium. Like the sharpness of these angles kind of draws on the old like iPhone 4 era, which was always my favorite. And now the new modern iPhones have the same idea. Pen is just a standard Lenovo pen. It might be one of the better ones. Yeah, Lenovo Precision Pen. I've tested their Active Pen and Precision Pen. The Precision Pen is way better. And here's the keyboard slash stand slash whatever. So you open that up there. It's magnetized, so that can come off. I'll look at the keyboard in a sec here. So this is kind of the stand slash backplate. There's lots of ways you can set this thing up. And the keyboard itself and trackpad. This is basically very similar to some of their other dual screen devices. Haptic trackpad here, so you can see if I press on it, there's no click because it's a haptic trackpad, basically taken from the X13. From the Z13 this is taken from, which is a fantastic laptop. I had one that I bought a year and a half ago, and then they actually sent me this year's model to review. So, okay, so we can just set it up like this, and it's kind of vertical form. Man, this is gonna be hard to film, it's so tall. And you can adjust it how you want in terms of your viewing angle, like that there. I have a little bit of a bend to it there, which you can see. Which means that I'm kind of looking at everything almost natively. Like this is right in front of me. This is right in front of me. So let's pull that out. Kickstand there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then the keyboard. Oh, it snaps right in there. So there's a little magnetic strip down here, obviously, and you get a nice click to it, and it's on there. Like you'd have to almost pull the tablet away to basically like that, or you can just double finger it. But so there's the keyboard on this gigantic, massive screen. Obviously, looks like it's pretty good. Yeah, so I mean, now I have this huge, massive screen in front of me. I mean, it's a 16 by 3 inch screen. It's a 16.3 inch screen, so it's a really big screen. But because it's a 4 by 3 aspect ratio, so even though it's vertical here, if you had a normal like 16 by 9 would be this tiny little thing, or even 16 by 10 would be something like that. We have 4 by 3, so it's actually slightly bigger like that. And you may think like, why would I want to be in a vertical format like this? Well, you can have vertically stacked documents too, right? So you can go like this, and you can use this window snapping thing. You can use power tools and get your own setup however you want. Like, there's lots of different ways you can snap stuff. But you can come up here, basically just say, well, I want this one to be the bottom one, like that there. And you can set them up so that the windows snap here and here automatically, here and here automatically. So there is a gap between them, so there isn't a gap between them. So there's lots of ways you can set these up. So then you can have your document down here that you're working on. I'm working on a document. Something like that. Then if you come up here, for example, you can have like maybe, if you have, I don't know, you're doing research or something like that. So if you're a student or you're a professional. So let's say, for example, I'm working on a paper, a document where I write about Lenovo and their, I don't know, products that they sell, whatever, right? You can have your research basically up top there, which seems actually pretty cool. And then you have your document that you're working on down here, right? So you actually have a more, in some ways it's more streamlined, because when I scan left to right, if I have my things in like a landscape style view, you're scanning left to right, it's actually sometimes very easy to lose where you were reading each time. It can actually be pretty annoying to do that. Whereas vertically, yeah, I don't know, it just seems in some ways more intuitive, because if we flip it like this, let's say, for example, we go this route here. Okay, now look at how narrow these are, right? And even if you had a 16 by 9, which would have a little bit less height and more width, you're still always struggling for width on those documents, right? So you're trying to get a full page on here, and sometimes you go like that, so then you got to zoom out of your page here, right? And get a smaller font on it there, and then on this one you'd be doing the same thing, and then maybe you have a PDF over here. Okay, so now let's go into, I don't know what I'd call it, laptop mode. I think they call it clamshell mode is the official name for it. So we'll go like that and we'll set it up into clamshell mode. So I think if we just set this on there, in theory, because the keyboard has some sensors and stuff, I think it'll just be like, yep, there you go, boom, so it snaps. So let's bring the camera down. So now immediately it goes into camera mode. Watch, you can see the start menu down there. It immediately goes into clamshell mode. I'm gonna pull this off. Goes back into, I guess, touch mode, tablet mode, I guess I'd call it. Go back like that. And immediately switches, and it actually kills off the center zone there. You can see, pick that up. So it kills off that bit of the screen there, so it's not like a little bit going down there. And now you have a normal screen. I guess it's cut in half, and this is like probably around 12 inches or so, something like that. Very similar to like your typical smaller 13-inch laptop at this point. So come in here and you can still do the side-by-side panel stuff. It's just they're narrower, obviously. If you're a writer or something like that, and you just need to go full out like this is going to be totally fine. You're going to have just full screen here. So it's nice. It looks good. No issues like that whatsoever. It looks quite nice, actually. They don't have the largest keycaps on this here. So it doesn't have huge keycaps, but it does have good travel overall. So it's not like, even like an Apple Magic keyboard. I find that they're a little bit, I don't know, something about them, I just don't like them that much. It's something like that where you get, not the largest keycaps, but there's still decent travel, and that meaning when you're typing, you're separated enough that it's not going to bother you. You do have the function the control switched here. Some people don't like that. That's a ThinkPad thing. I think if you took that away from a ThinkPad user, they would lose their minds, because that's kind of important there. You have your function keys embedded here. Of course, you can hit function and that there, and that's going to basically switch between function and the actual like extra controls. So right now it's it's a function setup right here. If I press it again, it'll go back to kind of the Windows setup here, where it's like volume up, volume down, right? Yeah, so it's fine. It's actually a really, really nice keyboard. Just, typical Lenovo ThinkPad keyboard, meaning it's fantastic. They prioritize that. It's just, they're not going to mess around with keyboards because it would really bother people. Trackpad is fantastic. It's a haptic trackpad. So this is a haptic, so there's a little motor in there when you're pressing it. When the laptops turn off, you don't feel it anymore. As a result, like you can press it, it won't do anything. This here has that haptic. Same that you're going to get on a MacBook. So if you've used the MacBook, it feels very precise. I actually really like haptic trackpads. They are superior to plunging style trackpads. Okay, so now we'll try the pen here. I just had to grab myself a new battery for it. What do we have here? So this is a precision pen from Lenovo. I've used precision pens and I find them very good. Looks like it's actually called the Yoga Book Pen 2 precision pen. I've used some of their other pens like the Active Pen, which they're not as great, but these precision pens are precise, as the name would suggest. Journal. Okay, so it's got, you know, that typical Windows built-in thing. Let's try writing. I'm very bad at writing with digital pens, just so you know. So it seems like very precise and responsive. Right, basically the same as a if you've used the Microsoft Surface pen, which are very good pens to be honest. It's basically the same. Okay, let's just try sketching a little bit here and see how precise it is. You can notice that it is rejecting my palm, obviously, or it would be doing something over there. Also, Paint is not a very good app in terms of like any of this. Like, you can draw with Paint, but there are drawing apps that are way more advanced than this here. Yeah, there's no lag at all. Like, if I go real fast, like fast. It's one of the, yeah, honestly, it's one of the best I've used in terms of pens, to be honest. Okay, so let's have a look at this monstrous screen here. It is a 600 nit brightness, which is actually really bright, especially for an OLED. So it's a very bright OLED screen. You can get brighter screens, but 600 is bright. Like 600 is I can work outside type brightness. It's 100% DCI-P, so it's going to have beautiful color range, which you can see looking at it. One thing I'm going to warn you now, my camera cannot physically capture the beauty of an OLED, especially a color accurate OLED with like large color range. It just doesn't. It just freaks out. Right? Like that looks fantastic, especially a scene like this where there are the blacks as well and then also the colors. It actually looks 3D, like legitimately looks almost 3D because you have those blacks which really give it that depth because the pixels are off there, and it almost looks like my eyes, you can't see this on camera, it's not possible. When I'm looking at this, this looks closer than this. The screen is nice and sharp, beautiful colors. I mean, it's a gigantic screen that has a laptop embedded in it, right? So I mean, beautiful, massive OLED screen with a built-in laptop is basically what we're looking at here. Okay, this is gonna get really loud. I can tell already. I'm at like that amount of YouTube volume down there. So if you have headphones, you're gonna wanna really, you actually legitimately are gonna wanna take them out because this thing's gonna get really loud. Turn down your volume right now. My microphone might normalize, but it's gonna be loud. This is 50% and it's very loud. Wow. Yeah, that's really loud at 50%. Look at that. 80 dB at like 50 or 60%. Okay, so it gets up to like 100, like 90 dB, which is very loud. Like if you don't know how dB works, that's very loud. Okay, so that's that. The speakers are fantastic. The speakers could have slightly more bass. I mean, there are laptops with more bass, like a MacBook Pro 16-inch has more bass, which is what it is. It's also a laptop. Like that is a full laptop where the screen is a screen and the body is the body where all the internals are, and then you have your speakers in there. This is a tablet. Right? The entire computer is here. Yes, there's a keyboard that's separate, but the entirety of the device is a screen. So there's only so much speaker you can put into it. Like you can't put a nice thick speaker in a tablet. It's not possible. This is as good as any tablet speaker I've ever heard. Not as good as like a big chonking giant, 16-inch MacBook Pro. That's not a fair comparison, but it has very good speakers. CPU here, it's a 12th gen 1260U. It's actually a good processor. You get a lot of cores on that, 10 cores, and then you get, I guess, 2 extra threads or whatever. 1260U is going to be a very capable processor. You wouldn't want to put a P processor in here because it would be hot. Like this is a tablet when it comes down to it. So the U should perform very well. It's also going to give you slightly better battery life and not be super hot. This one you can get, this one here has 32 gigabytes of RAM, 5200 megahertz RAM, so fast. That's as fast as I believe 12th gen can get. So, you know, Lenovo could put faster RAM in here, but I don't think it would be supported anyways. So that's, you know, an Intel limitation. So fast RAM basically, that's good. That'll help with, you know, tasks, accelerating the CPU there. Has a Samsung SSD here. I'm not sure what that model is. It's going to be probably a 980 Pro variant. Wi-Fi, you're going to get good Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 6E should get nice speeds out of that. We'll see when we get to the tests for that. And then you just get Iris graphics in that, which is relatively capable. I mean, you're not going to be playing Starfield on this thing, but you could play some old games for sure. Absolutely, if that matters. Okay, here's a look at the built-in webcam. Actually, I'm in not a very well-lit room. I have the light up here, and I have like a light over there. My actual room light is not on. It's nighttime. The webcam looks very good. Even when I'm like, let's turn up these lights here. Yeah, this is really dark now. Like I have the light from the screen and basically that over there. That is very bad lighting, very, very bad lighting. And it's actually doing a very good job. With the light on, it gives a second, and it seems to basically pick up there very well. So this is a fantastic webcam, actually. Very, very good webcam. Again, super premium item. I would expect it to have a really good webcam, and they did. Very good webcam. Having a look at some benchmarks here, you can see the Wi-Fi is pretty fast. It goes up to about 520 megabytes a second, 470 uploads. That's pretty good. My Wi-Fi goes up to about 600 megabytes a second, so not bad. The SSD here is not the fastest SSD. It's an upper tier Gen 3 drive, but overall we should get pretty good performance considering it's probably a fairly small SSD inside there. If you look at the battery here, this screen here is actually just using the standard laptop mode, so it's a half screen here. We're getting around 9 watts discharge or so. That's like 4 to 5 hours of battery life. When you actually open it up into full OLED panel, you know, the entire screen, that does go up by about 2 watts of battery life, so still good regardless, and considering has a fairly small battery in it. And then if you look here at some YouTube, 1080p 60 YouTube, just on the half screen there, not the full screen, and you can see here we're getting about 10.7 watts discharge. So again, you'll probably get around 4, maybe 4.5 hours of YouTube consumption, which is not bad for such a thin little laptop here. And then looking at the Cinebench scores, this is interesting. So it actually got a pretty good score here on a single run. You can see here that I'm getting a little over 7,000 on the Cinebench scores here, 7,600. And then if you look on the right there, that you can see that the temperatures did get pretty warm. So what happens is when you actually run Cinebench, it does quite well for the first run or two, and then it basically starts to get warmer and warmer and warmer, and then the CPU will downclock and your scores will go down. So this laptop here will be actually very effective for short bursts, probably up to a couple minutes of fairly intense workloads. It does seem to maintain a really good score. However, if you're doing extremely long performance writes, that will start to get a little bit warmer, and then it will throttle, and the score went down to around 5,000 once you do that. So I think that this is kind of the cool way to use this thing. You know, I have this tiny little tablet type thing. You can see there, it's the thin little boy right here. Super, super cool. And then, you know, I come down here and I sit over here. Let's see if my dog decides to join us. Yeah, here he comes. You know, I sit down here and then all of a sudden he shows up, which is the best part. Go get it. And I have my little tablet type thing right here, right? So then, you know, if it was in tablet mode, it would be kind of weird, right? Like I want it to be a laptop because I'm sitting down on a couch. I don't want this monstrous thing sitting in front of me, because if I have it like this, you know, laptop mode here, and then, you know, I have it like this here, and I have the stand set up. I guess, you know, you kind of could set it up like this here, right? It's a little unsturdy because then you got to set this thing on your leg. Yeah, I mean, it works. You can do it. It's actually not bad. The only, I guess, negative is this little thing is now sitting on my legs, which is fine. It feels sturdy, actually, right? Like I'm shaking it around, it feels fine. It's just digging into my legs a little bit, but I think it's fine, actually. But I think, you know, the other appeal is on a situation like this, you could certainly use it in this kind of format here. But I think the real way that you're going to use it when you're sitting in a situation like this, you know, you're sitting on a couch or something, is you turn it into laptop mode, right? So then you go like this here, take that off, set that on like that there. You don't need this with you. I set it off to the side. And now I have a little laptop in front of me, right? Like, so now I'm dialed in. I have this little laptop here, working on my thing. It's actually bigger than like a notebook, a netbook, I guess you'd call them. I'm not sure how old my viewers are. Most of them seem to be old enough to probably know what a netbook is. This is kind of netbook size here. It's like around 12 inches or so. I think this is, good for sitting down here, just doing whatever. Okay, I'm done now. I'm done with my meeting, whatever. All right, let's take it and go. So, you get yourself set up here. Get your guy hooked up here and you take it with you, whatever. Moving around. Go back to my other filming location here. I have my cool little thing here. It kind of looks like an old Mac. It kind of looks like an old ThinkPad here when it's folded up. The kind of cuboidal ThinkPad of yore, I like those. So come in here, sit down like this, right? Take off the keyboard here, like that there. Okay, we're gonna be cooking now. So I get this set up. I'm back in my office or, back in my office or wherever I'm gonna be doing my dedicated work, I guess I'd call it. I went for my meeting, bring out your tablet. I don't know which format I wanna be in. I guess I wanna be in horizontal mode for now. I don't know why, I just do. And we're good, right? Now we're cooking again. So there you go. Easy enough to just move from thing to thing, right? Come down here, you're at your desk now. You're doing serious work in whichever orientation you want. And then you're like, all right, okay, I got my meeting now. Let's go, let's pack up, take it off, close it up, right? That goes like that, that goes like that, that goes like that. I think up, down, it probably doesn't, maybe technically it goes down. I don't know, yeah, because I guess it's protected, right? And then you get up and you're moving, you're cooking, right? I'm going to my meeting, sit down at the desk, and maybe I'm not gonna pull out the whole thing, maybe I am, or maybe I don't even bring the keyboard with me, right? I leave the keyboard alone. I just use my actual kind of touch screen that's on this little fold here. So it's a super adaptable kind of hybrid moving around kind of device, right? I like the fact that you can take this with you like this, move around, and it's a pretty small, compact package there. It might look bigger because the camera has that warping, but if I bring it back to myself, you can see how small this thing is here. It's not a big tablet here, right? If I bring it back here, it's a nice little compact package here. But then when I sit down at my desk, I can turn this into a gigantic over 16-inch screen, which is awesome, right? So that's really, really fantastic. I'm really a big fan of the form factor of this. Obviously, you're going to be paying for it, right? It's not like this is some, $500 laptop that's going to be super cheap. This thing is pricey, right? It's pricey, but it's got an OLED screen. It's got a foldable OLED screen that goes up to 16.3 inches, huge touch screen, detachable keyboard, pen, all these extra things in there. So what this is this is not someone who's just like, yeah, I need a laptop, and this thing's like, cool. I guess it's like, you watch my video or whoever's video, or you watch Lenovo's Media's type kits, and you watch this and you say, what can I do with a device like this? This is something that can fit my hybrid workflow style where I'm moving around and I maybe need just like a laptop with a tiny little foldable aspect like this. Then I'm going to a meeting or something, or I go to the library if I'm a student, or if I'm a business, I go to my office, I sit down there, and then I open up that massive OLED screen there, and I have serious workflow going because I have a huge, massive screen in front of me, and I don't necessarily need to bring a portable monitor with me as well if I want to get lots of screen real estate on something that can also be a 13-inch, 12-inch portable laptop, right? Normally, you're going to be bringing one of these. You're going to have a 12-inch type laptop. It's a tiny little thing, and then if you want to get serious work done, you're going to bring a portable monitor with you as well, then set that up. That's a pain in the butt. Here, the actual device can be either 12 and a half inches, tiny little netbook style thing you can move around with, lots of power though still, and then you sit down and you turn it into work mode, open that up. You don't need to bring a portable monitor because it is a gigantic monitor. So this thing's super cool. I like it a lot. I want to get one. I'm happy that Lenovo sent it over. It's super, super cool. I can see this being like something that people just really benefit from if you have a hybrid type workflow where you're moving around a lot, but you need access to lots of screen real estate to do serious work. I think this is something that people are really going to benefit from.